Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today we're doing Two Back or Not to Back, or more specifically, we're not doing Two Back or Not to Back. This week's episode instead is another week of 25 late pledges. We're going to be showing you 25 late pledges across Gamefound, well, mostly Gamefound, as well as BackerKit, and that's going to be a combination of two reasons. Number one is I'm probably recovering from Gen Con right about now. I do not have time to be filming a video, and so we have this one which I can film in advance instead. And number two is crowdfunding is currently, partially because of Gen Con, partially because of the mid-year slump, crowdfunding currently doesn't have that much going on anyway, so we're gonna take a bit of a skip this week. I know we skipped last week, I'm sorry, that's 2 weeks in a row. I never like it either, but we just go with the campaigns we have, and I'm working with what I got here. But hopefully we'll be back next week. We'll see what's up. I think we have, is Call of Duty live right now? Maybe Wizards & Co. might be on its last week. There are a few campaigns you can currently check out, and I'm sure there's lots of other content creators who are covering them if you want more of a bit of information on those, but I'll be back next week with our regular Two Back or Not to Back. In the meantime, we have our 25 late pledges, and right about now is a good time to remind you that yes, I do work for Gamefound. I've worked for Gamefound since last August. Take that into account as we go through these, especially because in these late pledge videos, just due to the sheer simplicity and ease of access, I mostly cover Gamefound campaigns. Because of the fact that Gamefound is structured, that you can browse through campaigns, I mostly have those campaigns. I also do have a few over at BackerKit because you can also start browsing through BackerKit. They've started changing the interface a bit. It still doesn't have the searchability I want, but I was able to find a few. So we have like 3 or 4 BackerKit campaigns, a bunch of Gamefound campaigns, and we're going to go ahead and start off with them, starting off with, ironically enough, a first one for BackerKit, Aegean Sea. This is coming to you from Asmati Games, who currently, I think as of the time of this filming, we currently have Innovation Ultimate is currently live in BackerKit, but if you're looking for another Asmati games, Aegean Sea is going to be available as well. Another one of those multi-use cars that Carl Shuduk is famous for, from Glory to Rome, from Motanai, I believe, from Innovation, one of his most popular to date, but it's going to be another one, so you can both, currently back Innovation if you're looking for that, or you can late pledge Aegean Sea if you're looking for any of those. I should note before we dive through the rest of these, that in the, late pledge coverage, I don't really focus as much on is it worth it, is it not. I usually did those in the main videos when I covered them, and I don't want to, continue going through them all again and again as we go through each of these. From there we have Arydia, the Past We Dare Tread. This is one that I have mentioned in the past, but it's still open and available to late pledge. This was on Kickstarter, raised a ton of money. Just in general, this was an incredibly ambitious project that went from being completely not on my radar to a game I very much loved, and I'm excited for this one to arrive. This one just has multiple levels of just what you're operating on. You're going to be operating on this overworld map that you're going to be exploring, and then diving into this, generic, wandering around adventures, talking to characters, and then from there going into dungeon crawls, all while you level up your character, while you go through a large RPG adventure, a game that felt so much like a video game in what it did, but in a way that some people might say, hey, I'd rather play a video game. For myself, no, this was a delightful experience that I'm eager to dive back in, an incredibly ambitious project from the people who brought you Xia Legends of a Drift System. That's Arydia, the Past We Dare Tread, still available for right now. We have Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition, 211,000 euro raise. This is coming to you from BD Games. This is the newest, most definitive version of Assault on Doomrock, at least that is until they have the newest, most definitive version of that. I mean, speaking of Innovation, which you mentioned in this video, I have the Innovation Deluxe box set, and now they're doing the Innovation Ultimate box set. So it doesn't matter what or when or where, but you will always be outdated, which is a reminder, back the things you're playing. Don't just back it for the future, otherwise you might find yourself a little grumbly when you haven't played a game for 4.5 years and the new version of that game comes out. You might be a little grumbly. I get it. I'd be grumbly too, but also, back what you're playing, not just what you're collecting, unless you're okay with the cost of that. But either way, Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition, the current, most up-to-date version of Assault on Doomrock, a kind of semi-abstracted dungeon crawler. It's one of those games that's fascinating. I backed this one, I'm eager for it to come, and I don't know where it's going to fall for me. There are some games, this one has a lot of people who love the game, and a lot of people who are like, it was okay. And I mean, I'm pulled in by the art and the world of it, but I don't know if the gameplay mechanics will hook me or not. But that's Assault on Doomrock. Then we have Carson City Big Box. Now, this one I know I love. This one I've loved since I first played it. I played it at a friend's house on his birthday, and I immediately started seeking out a copy the next day and successfully found one. Carson City is a delightful game. A delightful game. Do I still have it? Where is my Carson City? I should have it somewhere. I better have my Carson City. I almost want to go. I want to go look, but I'm gonna not look. I better have my Carson City. Anyways, Carson City Big Box. This is and the reason I'm not sure is because I brought it to Origins to demo, and they had a Gamefound booth over there. I bought my own copy, and I don't see it on the shelf, which has me panicked. More panicked. Do I have a Carson City or not? I don't really know, and now I'm nervous about what happened. Oh well. Carson City! Carson City is going to be coming to you from I'm sorry, I'm going to walk off camera and I'm coming right back. This is all staying in the video. We are good. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have been able to focus. We have it. We have it on the shelf. I would not have been able to focus. Carson City is a delightful game, to the point that I would not have been able to focus in the rest of this video while wondering if I did or did not have it. But this is a worker placement game for 2 to 4 players. I believe they actually added a solo mode in this particular Gamefound campaign, but this is going to be a worker placement game where you're fighting over various spots, because you can go anywhere. If I go to a spot, it doesn't stop you. It just means that if we both end up there, we're going to have a duel. I love this one. It is tense. It is delightful. It plays fairly quickly, 90 minutes, 120 minutes for a slower game, and it's just has a lot of strategic decisions and a lot of variability to the big box experience. Then we have Conquest Princess, Fashion is Power, coming to you from Fight in a Box, $40,000 raised. This is an incredibly well done cooperative and solo adventure in which you are surviving in space across various scenario-driven play as you try to ensure that, you don't die, or have ships blow up, or have other things blow up, let down the galaxy, let down your friends, let down your pets, worst of all. There's lots of things that could go wrong in Conquest Princess, Fashion is Power, and it's your job to ensure that none of them do. They will, though, and it is your fault when that happens. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Deep Rock Galactic, the board game. This is one that's actually delivered already. This is one that has been delivering already, but it looks like they do still have limited pledges available. Currently, they're sold out in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, but that means that they do have in the US, I assume. That's just the way math works, right? €125 for Deep Rock Galactic Deluxe Edition, but if you have been seeing your friends show up with this game on their table, and the FOMO is getting to you, well, first of all, regular reminder that the FOMO will always get to you. You have to decide when and where you're actually going to spend money to solve that problem, and understand that the FOMO is always present. It's the board game hobby. There's lots of board games. You want them all. I want them all. We all want them all. It's so interesting, by the way, because it all depends on what space you're in. I'll go out and buy a video game and it'll be like, hey, you have the standard version for $59.95, or the deluxe version for $79.95, or the super deluxe version with all the extras for $99.95, and I'm like, thank you very much, I'll get the cheapest version. Who in the world is spending an extra $45 on what exactly? Oh, you got a skin and 2 whatever and a code for the music? Like, fools, suckers. Don't look at my board game collection. Please don't look at my board game collection. But anyways, Deep Rock Galactic over here, €125 if you want to hunt this one down, or just not really hunt it down, so much as hit checkout and then wait for it to show up and play the game, or let it sit on your shelf for 4 years when they release Deep Rock Galactic Ultimate Edition. And then you wonder and upset yourself because you haven't played Deep Rock Galactic in 4.5 years, but you did buy it because of the FOMO, so you're kind of happy. You have to unbox it once, look at the miniatures, put them on your shelf, we're very happy with yourself, you're like, great, and then you only played Jim's copy, and even Jim's copy you only really played once, but at least you have it, but now you have to buy the Ultimate Edition, and it's $499.95, although $599.95 if you want the Collector's Edition, and $1,017 if you want the Ultimate Enhanced Experience Ultimate Edition of Deep Rock Galactic. I'm sorry, Mood Publishing. D.E.I. Divide Ed Impera expansion and reprint, €343,000 raise. This, to me, I love this game. Now, regular disclaimer, when I love a game, there's 2 kinds of instances when I love a game. Like right now, D.E.I. and Exhibitions are my 2 potential Game of the Year picks for games that my 2023 Game of the Year picks. As of right now, July, well, I guess August. In August, we're currently looking at those 2 as my potential candidates. Now, that means we still have time for something else to enter the mix, but in the meantime, those are my candidates. The difference between D.E.I. and Expeditions is Expeditions, I feel, has gotten a larger degree of general hype and buzz around it, and a lot more people who feel the same way. So, not everyone does, of course, you'll never have that, but a lot more people do with Expeditions. D.E.I., I think that there are a lot of people who love it, but there's also people who are kind of in like the, hey, it's okay, doesn't feel like it's amazing. First of all, they're wrong, but secondly, just in case I'm wrong, make sure to listen to their opinion before you listen to my opinion that I think D.E.I. is amazing. I love it. I recommend it so much. I have played this game so much. I don't know which one is going to be my pick of the year right now, D.E.I. Expeditions. I have suspicions, but you will not find out those suspicions until you watch my end of the year videos because I need those clicks. That's how I buy the Super Ultimate Deluxe Deep Rock Galactic $1,017 version of the game. Then we have Dungeons Infinity Kingdom Costs from Sky Kingdom Games. This is going to be, well, a Dungeons Infinity. This is a reprint of Dungeons Infinity with a graphical overhaul that they had. They have this one over on Kickstarter, currently in Gamefound, because most of these are in Gamefound, and it's going to be a game where you're going to have like different scenarios to go through and then lay down the various enemies and tackle them. It's a dungeon crawler. It's a dungeon crawler from Sky Kingdom Games, taken over from the previous publisher, and with a whole overhaul to the system that's going to be Dungeons of Infinity. Then we have Final Strike, Looking for Greatness. I don't know, that's from Looking for Greatness. Final Strike is a game which is a hand management or hand construction game. You're going to have, if I recall correctly, 9 cards, possibly 10 cards, but then whenever you upgrade a card, you're replacing a card in your hand, so you always have the same number of cards in your system, and you're going to be using those cards to forge various weapons and to take down enemies using your Final Strike, where you will deal the last point of damage and get the ultimate rewards. But don't worry, you do get points for slowly killing them along the way too. Just more points for that final strike as you go through it, which means I really like the game, and I hated the final strike mechanic because I don't like the final strike mechanic in any game, and this game is literally named Final Strike, so I was kind of mixed because I really liked some aspects of the game, and was a little like on the actual main game mechanic. But that said, it's quick, it's fast, it's easy to play, it's easy to teach, it's Final Strike. Over here, look from on Gamefound, from Looking for Greatness. Then we have Guards of Atlantis II tabletop MOBA from Wolf Designer. This one knocked it out of the park. They had a campaign over on Kickstarter, and then they came back a few years later with a whole bunch of reviews under their belt, and they said, we are back, and we have more stuff, and it's going to be expensive, and it's going to be in the box in the way we want it. It's going to have multiple pledge levels and different options, and it's all delightful, and everyone says it except for a few people, but that is neither here nor there. That is Guards of Atlantis II tabletop MOBA, a MOBA-style game. There's a bunch of MOBA-style games out there. There's Skytear, there's Guards of Atlantis, there's Cloudspire, there's Rum and Bones. I like all of those games, so I can't help you there. If I had to pick which one, I generally lean a drop towards Rum and Bones. I did way back in one of my early videos. I did Rum and Bones versus Guards of Atlantis. I did one of those videos. I compared, I contrasted, I talked about it, and you can watch that video if you want to know what I liked over there, because again, I need those clicks. That Deep Rock Galactic Ultimate Edition does not pay for itself, but Rum and Bones won by a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this video because I didn't make you watch the other video to get you the answer. Just do all the good things. Also, I have a Patreon, by the way. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We have Harrow County, the game of Gothic conflict from J. Cormier. This is the follow-up to a Mind... Well, not really follow-up. This is the same publisher as Mind Management, Mind MGMT, and they have Harrow County, the next one, and they have a new one coming. I don't remember the name of the new one. It's also based on a comic. That's all I have for it, and it's based on, like, cryptids and stuff. I don't remember what it's called. They have a new game coming out as well, but Harrow County, you can check out this one. This is this is one that played across a variety of chapters. They added more and more stuff across each chapter. Basically a strategic, an abstract game with a lot of theme built on top of it, and also almost a campaign sort of ish adjacent. That's Harrow County, the game of Gothic conflict. We have Heroes of the Pacific, Battle of Guadalcanal, another Heroes of the Pacific game. This is over on, well, Gamefound, because most of them are. Heroes of the Pacific, this is more content in the Heroes Pacific universe, which has a lot of content, a lot of ways to dive into it. And then there's Heroes of Stalingrad, and then there's more Heroes of Normandy and Heroes of Pacific and there's a whole lot of heroes in a war game that almost has a semi-cartoonish style to it, but that's going to be Heroes of Normandy or Heroes of the Pacific Battle of Guadalcanal. They have Honeybuzz Fall Flavors from Elf Creek Games. This is going to be an opportunity to get Honeybuzz, the deluxe edition of Honeybuzz, the expansion, Fall Flavors, all the various things for Honeybuzz. This one does require a bit of just a small warning that on some of their more recent campaigns, Elf Creek Games did adjust shipping for various international places. This is something that has been done in the past, but it's recent enough and it's a small thing. It's enough of a blip that do your research before you late pledge this. Anything always has a degree of risk, but definitely do your research. I don't want to just completely skip over that without mentioning it, but past that, if you do your research and you want this, Honeybuzz is a delightful game. I still have this one in my collection, although I do go back and forth in it, not because it's a bad game, it's a great game. I have a lot of great games I get rid of, but I like it a lot. I just don't find it hits the table as often as I'd like. I'm curious what the expansion will do, but I do overall very much enjoy this game as stacking little bees as you try to take various actions and grow your hive and try to set up your little honeycombs in different ways to efficiently strategize your way towards victory in Honeybuzz. Then we have Inventions, Evolution of Ideas from Eagle Griffin Games, the newest Lacerda game coming, the newest Lacerda game that just looks cool. It looks cool. I don't know. Weather Machine was... Lacerda games are interesting. To me, I played Lisboa. I like Lisboa a lot, but it did fall into a category of a game that I felt the thinkiness. If I want to play a game with the thinkiness of Lisboa, I'm going to play Food Chain Magnet. And if I want to play a game that's lighter, I have a million Stefan Feld games and other designers as well who hit that target. For me, Lisboa was great. Happy to play it again, but I didn't feel the need to own it. And then Weather Machine came out. They have a bunch of others I kind of skipped over in this conversation, but then Weather Machine came out, and that one didn't really pull me in at all. It just looked too much. It looked like too much. It might be amazing, but to me it looked like too much. And then Inventions does look like one that I would very much enjoy, as does On Mars and The Gallerist and, Kanban and who knows what. So they all look like games that I enjoy. I'd love to play more of them. Just time, effort, energy, and attention, but that's Inventions, Evolution of Ideas. We have Monster Hunter World Iceborne, the board game, coming to you from Steamforged Games, the spiritual successor, or straight-up successor to Monster Hunter World. It is semi-compatible systems, but ultimately it's its own standalone game in the Monster Hunter World universe. So for all those who, went through Monster Hunter World, there's a lot of content there for you. And if you didn't get that content, if you bought Monster Hunter World and you don't play it for 4 years, well, too late. You don't have to wait for the Super Ultimate Edition of Monster Hunter World. It's called Iceborne, and it's already here. The question is, Steamforged Games has a history of redoing games. Not necessarily a bad thing, just know that going into it. They've done Resident Evil like 3 times now, so the question is Monster Hunter World going to get a 4th version? Before you jump in on this one, are you actually going to play it when it shows up? Do you currently have Monster Hunter World that you are or are not playing? Make those decisions accordingly, because as much as I do like Monster Hunter World, and as much as I do think Iceborne does represent small improvements and qualities in life to the Monster Hunter World system, it's still a question of ultimately, are you playing it or are you not? That's something you have to know for yourself before you back the Super Ultimate Deluxe Edition of this game. We have Skytear Horde Monoliths. This is not Skytear that I mentioned earlier, but this is in the same universe as Skytear. And if you're like, what's Skytear? That was one of the 4 MOBA games I mentioned. There are more than 4 MOBA games. I think those are the bigger 4. But past that, Skytear is delightful. Skytear Horde is just as delightful in an entirely different genre. Skytear Horde is going to be a solo or cooperative puzzling game as you try to build out your decks of cards and take down the various enemies. There also is a head-to-head mode where a 3rd player or a 2nd player, I guess, takes control of the Horde and fights against you. I have not played that mode. I've played all the other modes, like the game a lot, very much enjoy it, and this was more content and better boxes for the Skytear Horde system. More content, but the boxes, some people have complaints about the boxes. Honestly, I get it. The box did feel a little cheap, but it stored the playmat in the box, which for me is already a win, so I'm not complaining, but I will get a new box, so I guess I'm definitely not complaining in that sense. Let's see what I said previously about the Super Ultimate Enhanced Deluxe Omega Edition. We have Spark Riders 3000 from Arcadia Studios. Spark Riders 3000 over here. This is a app-driven cooperative adventure, a pandemic meets, you know, flying through space and being attacked by space lasers, which is basically what Pandemic is. Mostly. Just minus the space and the space lasers and the flying through space and the app-driven. I guess they're both cooperative games. I've played both. Neither one is in my house right now. They both have the letter A in the title, and the letter P in the title, and the letter E in the title, and the letter D in the title. There's no C. Okay, I think we're good enough. And the letter I in the title. Mostly there. Anyways, Pandemic and Spark Riders 3000. This is going to be a 1 to 4 player hybrid cooperative survival adventure in space. The production on this is amazing. The art is amazing. The general like app driven, all this stuff. This is coming to you from, oh my gosh, what's the name of the company again? Because they have another app driven game, a dungeon crawler from Arcada Studios. They already have another dungeon crawler. What's it called? I don't remember the name of it. It's another dungeon crawler. They have Aroon is the other dungeon crawler. But either way, that's Spark Riders 3000, flying through space, being attacked by space stuff, and going through a variety of different missions as you try to survive the flying by space stuff in this game. Then we have over here, we have the Dark Horde from Lucky Duck Games. Speaking of app-driven games that take place in space, this is not one of them. But if you're looking for an app-driven game that does not take place in space, this is one of them. It also has an A in the title and a D in the title. We're not going to keep doing this. Dark Horde. The Dark Horde from Lucky Duck Games is a collaboration between Lucky Duck as well as Van Ryder, taking the dark grittiness of the Van Ryder universe and mixing it with the, app-driven system that you'd see, almost like a hybrid combination of Destinies and Chronicles of Crime mixed together as you go through this system of adventures, trying to figure out exactly what is going on in the Dark Horde, interrogating people, threatening people, burying up, digging up bodies behind the backyard, all that kind of stuff. Someone else buried it, you're just digging it up. All that stuff in this world. This dark, slightly mythical, a little bit of just a little bit of the supernatural in this world. That's going to be the Dark Horde from Lucky Duck Games. We have the Last Spell, the board game from Tabula Games. This is going to be a semi-tower defense game based on the video game. Apparently, like I covered this in the Kickstarter. I didn't even realize this was a video game, and this one is based on that. In this tower defense game, as you try to survive, as you try to level up, power up, build out your base, this is going to be the Last Spell from Tabula Games. Look charming, look very cool. One that I definitely want to try, but until I do, I'm going to be a little bit more responsible with my money because I'm saving up for that super enhanced, ultimate, super deep rock galactic edition for $1,017. We have the Queen's Dilemma from Horrible Guild. If you like the King's Dilemma, then the Queen's Dilemma is next. That's the selling point. That's all I got. I mean, we got the King's Dilemma Chronicles on Steam if you want to try that, but literally the entire selling point for the Queen's Dilemma is if you like the King's Dilemma, it's more of it. And if you don't like the King's Dilemma, why are you getting the Queen's Dilemma? And if you haven't played the King's Dilemma is a lot cheaper, but if you like the King's Dilemma, there is indeed the Queen's Dilemma available for you as well. We have Townsfolk Tussle, Foul Neighbors, and Odd Jobs from Panic Roll Games. This is going to be more content for Townsfolk Tussle, a game that is charming and laughable and funny and boss battling and has you going across a series of just, 3 bosses now. In the enhanced rule set, they've adjusted, it's now 3 bosses. That way you play the game for only 3 hours instead of 4.5 hours. But you're going to go against 3 bosses, powering up your characters, taking down the evil baddies, the Ruffians, is that what they're called? I can never remember. And then going through the adventure. Meanwhile, you have the Peddler, who's going to giving you more unique gear that if you collect sets of them, you get your power up. Some more things were added to this game. There's lots of degrees of exploration in the Townsfolk Tussle universe, but it's basically more Townsfolk Tussle. If you like the game, there's more of it to like. And if you didn't like the game, I don't imagine this is going to change your mind unless the only reason you didn't like it was going to the length of the game, in which case this improves it by like 25%. From there we have Unconscious Mind. Unconscious Mind coming to you from Fantasia Games. This is the, just a strong midweight Euro game from Fantasia Games involves, deciphering dreams and then building up a tableau and dealing with coffee as you try to, talk to Freud and uncover your mysteries and analyze the various facets of the imagination. It works really well. This is a delightful game. Really strongly enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to finally playing the final copy of this game, Unconscious Mind, from Fantasia Games. Then we have Uprising, Titans of the First Age from Nemesis Games. This is more Uprising for those of you who liked Uprising. Although I will say, if you didn't like Uprising, there are things they did in this game to hopefully make Uprising a better game for you as well. To the sense that they had some minor complaints in the original game about the degree. There were two main complaints. I can't remember what they all were. One of them was about the fact that just sheer luck, the amount of cascading failure in the game, and I believe they did things to address that. The other one I don't remember, but I know that they did things to address that too. But Uprising overall, a well-rated system with more content for it, with acrylic standees, one of the games that arguably popularized acrylic standees. So that's Uprising Titans of the First Age and Uprising Curse of the Last Emperor. More content in the Uprising universe if you're looking for a cooperative or solo game where you hopefully beat down the enemies before they beat you down as you try to play a 4X cooperative game. That's basically what this is. That is Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor, and the more content stuff. Then we have Velocity Vanguard. This is an old one from Precarious Games. This is an old one. Still wondering when this is going to show up. This is one that I am both excited for and nervous when it shows up because I love this system. No game I have ever played is like Velocity Vanguard. Also, no game I have ever played is the size of Velocity Vanguard, and that does have me wondering whether this is a game that I will table or be scared to table, but I want to table it. I like this one a lot. You're drifting through space, you're managing your drifting. There's solo, there's cooperative, there's competitive as you try to basically drift through space, powering up your spaceship, shooting off rockets to try to destroy your enemies, shooting off lasers. The tactical puzzle of this game was so charming, and the scenarios they gave you meant that it stayed fresh and interesting. This is a one-trick pony, but with enough of a game system built around it that it really works well as one-trick pony. My only concern was I remember the map for this was huge, and I am curious how that will manifest. I mean, it's the kind of game where I genuinely both love it and wonder if it'll be too much for me. I wonder. We'll find out. We'll see. Time will tell, but I'm still excited, for at least for right now. And that brings us lastly to Wild Gardens from Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. $133,000 raised. This is coming to you from the people who brought you Keystone North America. Had to look over my shelf. From Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, Keystone North America, Wild Gardens is a foraging game where you wander around, forage, and try to get as many victory points in foraging. That's what I have. But it's from the people who did Keystone North America, a game that I really enjoy, and that's why we're talking about it today. And that's going to be your 25 games to late pledge on various backing systems, mostly Gamefound, a few back kits, and that is what we have for right now. We'll be back in several months again with more of these. In general, whenever I don't have a crowdfunding video, if I haven't done one of these that recently, I'll find 25 late pledges for you to pay attention to. And if not, I'll find something else to talk about instead. Or I'll just unbox my Super Ultimate Deluxe Deep Rock Galactic. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one. My best friend accused me of stealing his thesaurus last week. Not only was I shocked at the accusation, I was appalled, aghast, and surprised.